Hey everyone, Tyler with Meeple Mountain here, bringing you another board game review. This time from our friends at Starling Games, who've given us a copy of their title, My Lil Everdell. If you're familiar with the full game Everdell, you will know that this is an engine-building kind of tableau game set in an adorably illustrated and beautifully built-out woodland creature kind of world with these small little anthropomorphic woodland animals that are working to build the town of Everdell. In My Lil Everdell, you continue with this idea where you're joining in a parade. You and all of your friends are trying to collect and build cards to get as many points as you can as you go through this fun little parade with your little woodland creature friends. This game is designed for younger gamers and families to enjoy the same concept and gameplay that you can experience in the full game of Everdell, which is, from time to time, quite advanced and very cumbersome and combo-tastic. All the things that I love, but it is a little heavy. And so Starling wanted to make a game specifically for younger gamers and families to enjoy, hence My Lil Everdell. I think you guys will really enjoy this title. It is still that beautiful art and same amazing mechanics that you come to know and maybe love in the game of Everdell, just set for a younger audience. It's beautiful, it still looks gorgeous, plays very engagingly, and I think it's one that you guys will really enjoy. So, without further ado, let's get to the table and learn how to play My Lil Everdell. My Lil Everdell is an engine builder tableau style game where you and up to 3 friends, so 1 to 4 players, will be working to create and invite friends and buildings and critters into your small little home area to compete in the 4 parades that are going on in the town of Everdell. You're going to be working to collect the most points, which are represented by these gold sun coins, and gain the most points by the end of the game, which will be played over 4 rounds. Over the course of the game, you'll be sending your small little meeple friends out to the board to collect resources, both in amber, timber, and berries, and you'll be using them to purchase buildings or invite small critters back to your particular tableau. These will give you additional in-game scoring points, potentially places that your friends can go to get additional resources, or even will be recurrent forms of income for you throughout the future rounds, where you'll be gaining additional resources just from possessing those cards. The cards themselves will always give you some amount of in-game points, which is always, of course, very valuable, and you'll also be using them to complete the 4 parades that are up for grabs in the game. Think of the parades as achievements, things that you're trying to accomplish. Once you meet the requirements for those particular parades, you will gain them to your tableau as well, with them going from 6 all the way down to 3 points. So the first player to gain a particular parade will gain more points than anyone else. So you'll be racing against your opponents to get the most points that you can from both parades and cards over the course of 4 rounds. Now, I know this is quite a lot to look at, but a few things to point out. This game also does come with a very nice solo variant, as well as some catch-up cards. You'll notice there's a captain and a fort card on the right-hand side there. Those are small cards that you can give to allow younger gamers a chance to have a competitive advantage. Those would be starting cards that would be given to them, as well as potentially additional starting resources to make sure that the game is balanced. So everything in this title is very thoughtful and built around making sure that younger gamers and gamers of various age ranges are able to compete fairly and have a really good experience playing this title. So that's all a very good kind of foundation as we jump into this game. But there's a lot to look at here, so let's kind of zoom into some of the various elements and talk about exactly what you can expect as you play through a game of My Lil Everdell. Here we have the main board of My Lil Everdell. Now, if you are familiar with the main title of Everdell, some of these things will certainly look familiar and reminiscent of the main title. Here we have the 3 main resources of the game, again being amber, timber or lumber, and berries. These are going to be the predominant resources that you'll be collecting to purchase cards throughout the game. Now, something that is a little different than your experience in the main title of Everdell are these resource set dice. They're going to be rolled every round of the game and replaced out here to kind of change the various resources that are up for grabs throughout the course of the game. In every round of My Lil Everdell, which there are 4 rounds, players will take their small little meeple friends and one by one take turns around the table, placing them on the various locations, trying to collect the resources they need to purchase particular cards. Now, these small places with the die here can only hold 1 friend at a time. So if someone has already placed here, unfortunately, I can't go there. I'd have to go somewhere else. Everyone can place up at the large multi-pause spaces here, though, and can share the same spaces freely. When you go to these places, you'll collect one resource at the top or the indicated resources at the bottom, being, in this case, 2 amber, 1 of each type, or even 2 wilds, which means, your choice of those items. You'll collect those resources, and then if you have the resources and want to spend them, you can spend them to buy any of the available cards in the market, which we'll look at in just a second. Once everyone has played all 3 of their friends to the various areas that they can, that round will conclude. The moon would move and we would go to the next round of gameplay. We would do this up to 4 times. At the end of the 4th round, we would tally up points to see who is the winner. I mentioned these before, but these are the various parades that are up for grabs. And these are going to be kind of achievements that you'll be looking to accomplish throughout the game. Those achievements would be having 5 critters or 5 buildings in your particular tableau. If you ever had 5 critter cards or 5 building cards in your tableau, you would take the top tile and claim it as your own, which makes the next parade worth less points for the next player. So you want to rush and think about how to get the most points that you can here. This particular parade wants you to have 1 of each type of building or card in your tableau. There's 5 different types, which we'll show in just a second. And this one wants you to have 3 of the same type. Again, once you claim that, you'll take it right away and set it into your tableau and keep it for in-game scoring. This adds kind of a fun pressure as you kind of think about how do you want to synergize your build. Do you want to lean into a certain type or kind of do what optimizes your build as you go? So there's a lot of fun strategies. Even though this is a game designed for a younger gaming audience, there's no lack of depth to be found here. All right, we've talked about them, but let's take a look at some of the cards that you can purchase in the game of My Little Everdell to really flesh out what you're working towards. Here we have an example of the cards you would find in the market in a game of Everdell. There will always be 8 cards available at the table at any given time for a player to choose from. As you collect resources, you'll be looking to think about what you want to buy from the market. And you'll see that cards have a pretty simple layout. On the top left-hand side, it's going to tell you whether that is a building or a critter. Remember, those are particular accomplishments that you'll be looking at for your parade achievements. Also, you'll see then the requirement, the cost. So this one costs 4 berries. This one costs a twig and 2 amber. And you'll see the points that these particular cards are worth at the end of the game just on their own. On the bottom, you'll see a symbol. There's several different symbols in the game. You'll see there's reds, purples, blues, greens. There's 5 different types in total that you could potentially have. Finally, you'll notice some kind of an ability or a bonus at the bottom of the card, and that's really what you're working to collect most of the time. Certain red locations, like the pirate ship or the hideout, are going to be additional places you could send your friend to. So instead of going to the main board that we showed you a second ago, if you owned this card, you could actually send your friend there to claim the resources or do whatever is listed on that particular card, which can be very valuable. Purple cards are predominantly going to be additional end-game points. They're very valuable as well for scoring well. Blue cards are going to do some kind of effect or passive as you play the rest of the game. In this case, we can see we get a point after we play another building when the school's already ours that is a red, a blue, or a knapsack, a brown or gray, we'll call it. So when you do that, it's another way to gain additional points. Finally, we have green cards. Green cards are going to give you a passive income at the start of every future round. So if I owned this market, at the start of the next round, all of my green cards are going to produce their content. So in this case, I would get a wild resource of my choice. If I had the glider and the market, I would get an amber and then a resource of my choice. This can be a great way to kickstart your economy and again, build up that engine that you're trying to build so you can buy the best cards that you want on every given round, turn that you take in a round of the game. And that, in a nutshell, is everything you need to know to jump in and enjoy your time with My Little Everdell. Turns will continue like this, with players placing friends, collecting resources, buying cards, and doing that over the course of 4 rounds until the 4th round is concluded, in which you'll tally up your points. Points on your cards, bonus points for any purple cards that are giving you bonus score at the end of the game, points for any coin, victory point coins that you have collected throughout the course of the game, points for the parades that you have collected and accomplished, and 1 point for every 2 resources, doesn't matter what type, that you have at the end of the game. You'll tally all that up, and whoever has the most points wins. And that's it. A nice, clean intro to engine building and the world of Everdell as a whole. What did I think about it? I have a lot of really good thoughts and feelings towards this title. My Little Everdell is, of course, a game designed with a younger audience and a lighter feel in mind. If you're familiar with Everdell, it is heavy. I would say it's mid to heavyweight with all the expansions. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to think about, a lot of options, a lot of combos, a lot of things that you can do, and it could be overwhelming, not just for a younger gamer, but for just a newer gamer or a gamer who doesn't want the brain burn that comes with that title sometimes. Now, I love Everdell, don't get me wrong, but it is nice to see Starling have this thoughtfulness to create a lighter version of the same beautiful experience with all the fun bells and whistles that you love about Everdell. It's all here. We've got the really beautiful art on the cards, this kind of engaging woodland creature feel. We've got the combos and the resource generation from the cards and different placement locations and all of the strategy elements and snippets that made Everdell really great, really fun, really engaging in a smaller package, both from a budgetary perspective and from a time and depth perspective. And all of those things are really good things. Every game is a good game is neither good nor bad as long as it fits a niche and a need in your collection, right? Everdell is not better or worse than Milo Everdell because it is more complicated or more expensive, but in the same sense, Milo Everdell is also great in that it fits a need. It fits a need for a quicker game that is lighter, easier to teach, a great intro to the style of engine building, which can be honestly very overwhelming and punishing if you're not familiar and kind of know what you're getting into. And it's great because it has the thoughtfulness to have a solo mode that's built into it and catch-up mechanics and things that make it easier to teach and more fair for a younger audience. All of these things are positives. One of the things I really love personally was the resource dice. I love the random, every turn you're going to roll these will come out, and it kind of gives you this variety of like, you can't plan emphatically on what you're doing because you don't know what resources will be prevalent on any given turn. So you have to kind of roll with the dice punches on that, which I think is really fun. The rulebook is, again, as always with Everdell, very well crafted. There's illustrations and great layouts for how everything works. You should not have any questions about how to set up and enjoy this title with a good rulebook like this, which is a huge positive to me. There's a lot of good to be said here. If you're looking for an engine builder game that will engage you and your family, Milo Everdell is great. If you're a gamer who just wants a lighter engine building game that maybe doesn't take quite as long to play because Everdell can take some time, My Little Everdell will fill that void in your heart. It is a wonderful title that has a lot of strategy and variance into how you can play, but it packages it well. It packages it in a smaller time frame and commitment level, which I think is great. I think it's something that the market will appreciate and is fun and engaging. So if you're looking for something for your collection to engage that younger audience member that you have or engage maybe the lighter gaming group friends that you have, I encourage you to check out Milo Everdell. It has all the charm of its predecessor, and it has a lot of unique elements that stand out on its own. You won't be disappointed with the production value and the quality of the title that you get here. I know I enjoyed my time with it, and I think you will too. Thanks so much for coming to Meeple Mountain to check out our content. I hope you'll continue to do so. Come back and hit the bell and subscribe and do all the things, as we're always putting out new content because we love sharing board games that's with you guys. It's what we love to do. So keep coming back. We love engaging with you guys on YouTube and all of the socials. So be sure to check us out and keep coming back. We hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, happy gaming. Thanks for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out these links to find some other games you might want to bring to the table. This is Tyler Williams, signing off.